Need to get one actually.
I'm sure. Welcome, bienvenue. Welcome once again to another property live stream. I'm sure most of you will recognise that in the blue corner we have Hamish McClay of Search Convey. But welcome to the show once again. It's been a while. Michelle Carr from a construction alchemy. I'm mangling my worms here. Who is indeed a leader in the construction industry, and today's topic really hinges upon that because it's women in construction leading change. But as is traditional on this channel, to start us off, Hamish McClay.
Well, as I was mentioning earlier, as we were in the green room, I should be donning my sort of my hard hat at the moment, but I'm not. I just have to put up with my hair. But welcome to you all this afternoon, and it's good to see Michelle with us. We haven't seen Michelle for a while, and it's quite interesting. For 2 days in a row, the subject is women, not of any other sense other than today we speak of women in construction. Tomorrow we speak of women in conveyancing. So it's a very, very, very apt, Michelle, that you're able to join us today. And of course, what it is, it's a strange thing. Not so strange in conveyancing, because we have a large number of conveyancers, conveyancing women, if you like, or women in conveyancing. Whereas in construction, I think some of the figures are, it's in fairly short supply. I mean, it's only 15%, but a lot of those will be involved with administration. Getting into the hard hat brigade, getting out there on the sites, there's very few people like Michelle, but the numbers are growing. I don't know what the percentage sort of currently is, but they are growing and making a significant contribution. One forgets that one of the tremendous aspects about each of us having the male and the female attributes in our brains, unfortunately, us males very rarely bring as much of the female out as we ought to. So it's good to have that second review point of what's going on, and also the management of what's going on. And that's something that Michelle looks at very, very carefully on behalf of clients, not just the actual management of the business, but also, if you like, the mindset, because that too is very, very important.
Welcome to the show, Michelle. I don't know whether it's your thing, but suddenly our figures have jumped up to over 50 people have jumped online. So welcome once again. Women in construction, unusual, but probably necessary.
There's a lot more women in construction than there used to when I first started. I mean, some people know this, some people don't. I know you two do, but my career, as it were, in construction started when I was 9 or 10, working in my dad's office every day after school. So I was answering the phones and filing and doing all those things. And I started doing takeoffs in the surveying department when I was 12. So flew through that exam when I finally got to university. So I am literally born and bred and grown up in construction. So I don't really know anything else. I tried a bit of sales and other bits and pieces over the years and coaching and all sorts of other things, but it doesn't matter how many times I try to leave the industry, it drags me kicking and screaming, not necessarily kicking and screaming, but drags me back in again. But there are so many more women, and it is much easier than it was 25, 30 years ago. But I think one of the advantages of my career was that my career started with a female QS. So my dad had a female QS and she was brilliant. She still is brilliant. And everybody respected and admired her because she was an incredible QS. So at no point in my career have I ever thought that I can't do something or I'm not going to get the job because I'm female. And it's not until sort of you're in your 40s do you appreciate a start in your career like that, especially as a young teenager.
I suppose having a role model who was achieving, male or female, is something that gives you pause. But I suppose as you reflect back now, it's a kind of role model that stuck with you, yes?
100%. And one of the conversations I was actually having on LinkedIn this morning is about how few good role models there are in construction that are female. And I'm trying to change that. So there are a lot more women coming up the ranks, but I'm going to be honest, some of the women that I've dealt with in construction have been difficult and have not made things easy and have not come across well on site. Don't get me wrong, I'm sure there are people in this world that would tell you all sorts of things about me and call me various names under the sun, because there was a point that I acted in my masculine, and I acted and I was aggressive and I was all the things that I thought I needed to be to get on in a man's role, because it
I think that's the critical element, isn't it? The things you thought you needed to be. Yeah,
because the construction industry isn't designed for women. And there isn't enough inclusion. And I mean, the fact that we've had our own toilets on site in the last 10 or 15 years, I can't remember actually when that came in, but that has a massive difference, because every other site I went to before, I'd have to check out either where the local Marks and Spencer's garage was, so that there was a toilet, because there was no way on earth I was going to use the site toilets because they're rank. Or I'd sweet talk, if it was a long project or a bigger project, I'd sweet talk a local cafe place, normally an independent one, and say, look, I'm going to have all my meetings here. I will buy bacon sandwiches for the guys on a Friday, but there are going to be times that I'm going to need to use your loo and I'm not going to be in the position to buy something. And they were absolutely fine. They earned quite a bit of money out of me, but things are different now, but they're nowhere near good enough. And it's just that understanding. But what I'm trying to do to the industry, which I think is incredible, the more women we have in the industry, I genuinely believe the less male suicide we'll have, which is a major problem. Suicide in this industry has to be controlled, has to be stopped. It's ridiculous. It's a daily thing. And I do think having that balance of more women on site, and not just on site, in the industry in general, not just the accountant department or reception or the admin team, is going to have a change of that, because it will just reduce the toxic masculinity. And so I'm helping women to be better leaders, but to lead as women, because we should be women in construction, not women trying to be men in construction, because we can't be men like men can be. And there needs to be that balance.
I do think that there are so many roles within construction that aren't just simply based on brawn and machismo, that it's ridiculous that there isn't just as many women, if not more women, in those areas, because you know, some of the what I refer to as the best female attributes are steady hand, being able to perceive outside the box, not being too nailed into one direction, able to extemporize and come up with new ideas. That often, I would say, is not traditionally a men's direction. I tend to find men in construction I take that direction. That's the direction I'm going to go in. If you see what I mean. I may be wrong, but certainly.
Yeah, you're generalizing, but I think we have to start generalizing a little bit more. I mean, the communities and the way that the world has gone, we've been so focused on individual needs and the individual, and people are like, what about me? And you compliment one type of person, and everyone's like, well, what about this type of person? What about that type of person? And we've got so involved in noise and chaos that we've forgotten about how it is to be a community and to be able to generalize. And yes, I do generalize, but men and women are different. And don't get me wrong, they are not all women are the same, not all men are the same, but we are designed to work together. And what the most powerful thing is, not only are men and women designed to work together, women are designed to work as teams. So if you look back at sort of older cultures, whether it be like Aborigines, West Indian, or anything like that, the women still, to this day, work together. They work in teams, they support one another. And that's how women are designed to be. And what I'm trying to help in the work that I'm doing with the Construction Alchemy is actually creating those teams and allowing those women to support one another, because in the industry, we have been pipped against one another. And that has, and I don't know why that happened, but it has been that. And I fell prey to it myself on numerous occasions. And there's been many women in the industry that have been threatened by me in the time. And I don't see other people as competition. I see it as allies. But not everybody's seen it this way, because there's a lot of women still in the industry that have that feeling that they need to be anti other women to get on with the men that their peers and their colleagues.
Oh, I see. The enemy of my enemy is my friend, sort of thing.
Exactly that, which isn't helpful for any of us. And what I'm trying to do is get people or get women to act more responsibly, but also act as more in alignment with who they are, and celebrate their differences and celebrate their different skill set and the way that they see things. I see the world very differently to the majority of people, very differently. Took a while for me to realize how important that is and what a skill that is, and how I see things clearly. And actually I've created 2 businesses now based on the way that I see things, much clearer and simpler than other people do. But also the main thing that I'm trying to work with is actually supporting men to support women, because yes, the industry is very male dominated, but it's also very old fashioned. And there are a lot of very, very good men in the industry. And at the moment, they're feeling a little intimidated. They don't really know how to act, how to step, what to do, what not to do, because the entire world has gone a little crazy, and it's all about what people just don't feel safe opening their mouth, opening a door. I've been on site before and go, can I open the door for you? And I was like, you can open the door for me anytime. I appreciate that. I'm not a feminist, and I've never claimed to be. And what I'm doing with these companies is not just supporting the women. I've got a company, I've got a program that's called Built to Lead. So it's teaching them and encourage them to lead as women, rather than just being leaders in construction, women leaders in construction, because it's very, very different. But I'm also supporting the men to support these women, and actually supporting the women to then support the men in their circles themselves, because we just need to, and everybody's different. Everybody's different. And there's some things that, and it's about setting boundaries, but setting boundaries in a nice way without causing a big hoo-ha, or just having a conversation with people and being open and honest and bringing these conversations to the table.
I do think that historically women on the peripheries or within construction have sometimes been looked on as less than, and I think this needs to change, because I think there should be equality of opportunity. Not necessarily equality of endpoint, but equality of opportunity. I don't think there needs to be positive discrimination. So you get some people, one group of a section of society gets more opportunity. I think everybody should have the same opportunity available to them, but you shouldn't downplay a person just because they're of one gender or another.
No, I mean, I've not really experienced that, not that I've been aware of, but it's, as you know, Gareth, I can be oblivious of what's going on around me and not even notice, and someone can be absolutely hating on me.
I will take the fifth on that. No, carry on.
but I know that I'm not always good at, I don't always pick up cues like other people do, and somebody's not particularly keen on me, and I just don't even notice it. But I've had many positive experiences. I've been in the industry 25, 30 years, 25 officially. And there are many people that I've met over the years that have actually preferred female QSs in my profession. They prefer project managers and QSs, especially QSs. And I've had many, many business leaders, whether I've been working for a developer, as a PQS, a contractor, whoever it may be, that I've met business owners, and they respect women. And if they had a choice between a man and a woman, they would pick a woman QS, because we have a different skill set.
I found, because I know, other than yourself, I know 2 other QSs, or I have known, and I've known all of them to be far more focused on getting it right than just letting things slide than perhaps their male counterparts. I mean, maybe I'm generalizing again, but is that a female trait, perhaps?
Yeah, attention to detail, 100%. The other thing that we tend to do, and I think a lot of men are intimidated by employing females, because them being mothers or potentially becoming mothers. And right. What people don't understand is, for a long time in my career, I was a single mom. I'm not a single mom now, but I have twins instead. So when I had my daughter, I was a single mom, and I was rising through the ranks with a child in tow. That was tough, but I had to leave at 5 or 5:30, depending on what day it was. I had to leave at that day. There was no staying late. There was no catch a takeaway on my way home. I had to be out of that door because I had a child to collect.
Yes, because other little kids were dependent on you, and you can't negotiate with little kids.
Don't get me wrong. Sometimes I'd have to open my laptop in the evening if it was a catastrophic day, which happens a lot in the industry. I might have to open my email and very often people would get emails from me at 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning, because I was on my phone sending emails before my day had started, while my daughter was still asleep. That was very common and has been for my entire career. So sending emails in the middle of the night is not rare for me, but I had to get the job done. And I think you'll find women are better at hitting these goals because they have so many other things to do. And a lot of women will go home, whether they've got children or not, and still they'll be expected to do dinner or whatever it may be. Yes, things have changed in the last 20 years and it's much more equal, but majority of the women do hold more in the household. So therefore they're used to juggling, they're better at their timekeeping and better at management. And I'm not saying they're better than all men, because I've met exceptional men, exceptional QSs, exceptional solicitors, exceptional project managers. Obviously there's a lot more men that I've met in my career than I have women, but there are different skill sets, and ultimately we work together. And when you've got a mixture of two, it really becomes like a powerful team.
Hamish, it seems to me that the world is changing in the direction of equality of opportunity, and I, for one, applaud that.
Oh, I welcome it. I mean, when I go back I go back to my ancestors, it was very, very traditional that the clan leader was a female. The majority of times, the clan leader was a female, and it was the female that had the opportunity. She was, there was none of this monogamity or whatever one calls it, because it was the opportunity of the clan leader to choose who she would mate with to get the next best possible sort of leader or support within the clan.
Yes.
So the women was always sort of in charge of that. Now, I don't actually remember back that far myself, a little bit younger than that. However, it was the case. But the most important factor is, and it's the realization that we need to know throughout this planet, is that ability to be able to work with others. We don't need to stigmatize anybody for who they are or what they are, because people are people, and we just need to learn to get on with people. But one of the great things, strangely, I work with more females within the conveyancing industry than I work with males. It's nothing unusual. One of the things that intrigued me was what Michelle said there, and maybe she could just add this, because this is one of the interesting things. What is it that makes the women of this world better quantity surveyors, or quantity surveyors who have a look at things in a marginally different way? Because I've heard this before, actually.
Well, I can say for Michelle, because I know her a little bit now. We've been friends for a while. I think it's attention to detail. I think it's seeing all the bits rather than some of the bits. And
I think it is attention to detail, but also we're much better at multitasking. And one of the things with QSing, which is getting much and more prevalent now, is since we've had the low value adjudication option, which means you can go to adjudication very, very quickly. It's a maximum fee and it's a shut and cut. And these are the kind of things that are being adjudicated is simply if you haven't issued a pay less notice on time and you haven't paid on time, then you can be a company can take you to adjudication. They have to pay the fees and you will win. It's quite simple. That has forced the industry. Well, it is forcing the industry. I don't think the full effect has truly come in yet because people aren't aware of it, but that is forcing the industry to do what it's supposed to be doing. So to be doing things on time, sending the applications. And I think women are a little bit better at, right, this needs to be done at this time, that needs to be done at that day, this needs to be done on this day, and organizing themselves, because we are so good at programming, especially if you're a parent, because you've got this one day, kids got to have that day, pack lunch this day, they've got a trip that day, they've got after school club this day, we've got this and this, I need dishwash, that wash, whatever it may be. We're so good at juggling or spinning 15 plates at the same time, it becomes naturally to us. And to be honest, since I've had twins, it's made me a much better professional, because chaos just ensues, and I'm much quicker at like, right, okay, is anybody dying? Nobody's dying, so we're all good. And I just think like there are different skill sets. And don't get me wrong, of course I've met men that are fantastic programmers and have got attention to detail and are great at writing contracts. I have met many of them, but I think when it comes to men and women, more in the majority of women have these skill set, whereas it's a rarer kind in men. And I think that's what it is. It's remembering all the things that you've got on your to-do list and every plate that's spinning, because if you forget a plate that's spinning, that's a problem. So if you don't place that order in time, if you don't get that certificate out in time, if you don't get that contract signed in time, the repercussions are huge if you're not good at managing cash. And to be honest, yes, traditionally the men are not in my household, but traditionally in a lot of households, the man is a breadwinner, but that doesn't necessarily mean that they organise the money. Normally it's the women behind them that make sure the bills are paid and the money's done, and what we're doing with this, and putting money away for savings, and we're going to do this for this holiday and that kind of thing, and budgeting. I found it really surprising in the last probably 6 months or so, speaking to people, since my husband gave up work last year, so I'm the sole breadwinner now, that how many women manage the budgets, even though they're not the ones that make the money. And I've been doing both for a very, very long time, so poor me. But I do think that there are a lot of women that are really good at managing money, and ultimately that's what QSing is about. It's about budgeting and risk analysis, and right, this is going to happen, we need to make sure we've got a contingency for this, and we can do something. And also we're great at making something out of nothing, and you can say what you like about that.
I think QSing is about spinning plates, managing budgets, and kicking asses. I suspect you're fairly good at all three. Thank you so much, Michelle Carr. Hamish, would you care to take us home, please?
I have to admit, I mean, so much of what you said, Michelle, satisfies me, because I am pretty bloody hopeless. I mean, give me one task, and I mean, to maintain that is bad enough, but you bring in a few more. To get the support in, the best support I get, I'm surrounded by females because they're so much better at it than I am, which is great. So what we need to do is to actually encourage, I think it's also, and Michelle would probably agree with this, is females, because traditionally it was the males that were sort of went into it. But now, looking from what Michelle, what we want to do is encourage more females to look at things like quantity surveying, to look at things like the site management, all sorts of things of that particular sort of nature.
We need to do trades too.
Trades as well. Yeah.
There's a few trades coming in, as well as, and of course, I mean, right the way around. But I do think it's getting that confidence, and I think we are seeing more confidence in women now, to actually encourage them, but we want to do it all the more, because I think, as Michelle quite rightly pointed out, and absolutely great having you back on today after such a break. So hopefully we can bring you back soon, and you can speak about some of the other things that you're working on the other side, and maybe whilst we speak about that, we can still carry on with this, trying to encourage other women to actually sort of take on board that, hey, this is an industry well worth working in.
100%.
No, well, thank you so much, both of you. Of course, I need to thank Hamish McClay, who set this up in the first place, and Michelle Carr. A welcome return. Good to see you looking so fresh-faced and well. And to all of you out here watching, thank you, yes, HMSX6MG. He is the clan leader, quite right. Please do come back again. We have another 3, yes, count them, more podcasts this week. It's the Kind of Magic tomorrow at 1, and at 10 we have the bung fight that is Property Quorum, and then on Friday we have Cladding Matters, one of our most viewed shows. Do come along to that as well. That's at 1. And thank you all for taking the time out of your busy schedules to watch this. We are growing our crowd. Do watch out, please, because we do have an active channel. If you go to Spilling the Property, or @Spilling the Property on YouTube, you'll find out all the different property shows that we run, and they're right there for you. But until tomorrow, please keep your feet on the ground, keep reaching for the stars, and please, in these troubled times, look after your mental health. Until next time, bye-bye.